Hello, and welcome back. This is our second episode, and we are extremely excited. This is officially the second episode of the Dear Black Woman podcast. I am your co-host, Cammie Red, and we are going to take a deep dive into the stories and experiences that shape the lives of Black women all over the world. Alongside me today is my other co-hosts, Lauren Edwards and Nicole Davis. And today we're actually tackling the topic of what that hits close to home for many of us. That is stereotypes that Black women face across the globe. From harmful labels to unrealistic expectations, stereotypes have followed us through generations, shaping how society views us and at times how we see ourselves. In this episode, we'll break down the most common stereotypes, challenge those narratives that limit us, and explore how we can rise above them to reclaim our true selves. Now, whether you're navigating these stereotypes in your personal or professional life, this conversation is for you. So let's get into it and start breaking those barriers down today. And as always, the intro and the outro music for our episodes are brought to you by Rabbit Production. So I'm bringing the ladies on. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Lauren.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
How are you guys doing today?
Yeah.
Doing
Representing UK.
Yes, a little bit under the weather, but doing okay nonetheless.
Nicole, have a whiskey.
Yeah, I don't really drink.
No, it's medicinal purposes.
I know. There's a drink that you do with rum in the Caribbean when you want to cure whatever you might have. Is it either it is a cold, a nose, run or something like that? But I'm not so much of a drinker.
So, ladies, we know what our topic is for today. I'm going to just read some of this off to you guys, and then we're going to jump into the topic. We're going to talk about how you feel about some of these stereotypes and how you guys want to dive into this and teach women how to overcome what they may be facing in both their personal and professional lives. So, in 2024, Black women continue to face several persistent stereotypes, many of which are shaped by historical and cultural biases. These stereotypes exist in various forms across the globe. Those specific experiences vary depending on location and context. Some of the most common Black woman stereotypes include the angry Black woman syndrome. Now, this stereotype paints Black women as being perpetually angry, aggressive, or confrontational, often dismissing legitimate expressions of frustration or assertiveness. It can silence Black women in both personal and professional spaces, discouraging them from speaking out. Number 2, hypersexualization. Black women are often hypersexualized in media and society, which perpetuates harmful narratives about their bodies and relationships. This stereotype can lead to dehumanization and assumptions that Black women's worth are tied into their physical appearance. One of my favorites, the strong Black woman. While resilience is often celebrated in Black women, the stereotype suggests that they are impervious to pain, both physical and emotional. It can result in the neglect of their emotional and mental health needs as society assumes they can handle anything without support. The next one is the mammy, originating from the era of slavery. The mammy stereotype depicts Black women as nurturing and selfless, always caring for others, particularly white families, while sacrificing their own needs. Now, this stereotype persists in expectations for Black women to provide emotional labor and care without recognition. The next one is uneducated and unintelligent. Another harmful stereotype is the assumption that Black women are less educated or intellectually capable. This can manifest in the workplace, in academic settings, where their qualifications and abilities are questioned. Another one is welfare queen. In the US and some other Western countries, Black women are often stereotyped as dependent on government assistance or unwilling to work, perpetuating the false narrative of laziness and irresponsibility. Another one, number 7, exoticized or othered. Outside of Western context, in places like Europe or Asia, Black women may be viewed as exotic or foreign, reinforcing the idea that they are outsiders and not part of the mainstream society. Number 8, single motherhood and family dysfunction. Black women are frequently stereotyped as being single mothers, often in narratives that suggest they are irresponsible or promiscuous, ignoring the broader systemic issues affecting families. And number 9 is materialistic or gold diggers. There's a stereotype that Black women are overly focused on material wealth, often portrayed in media as seeking relationships primarily for financial gain. And the last one is loud and ghetto. In many places, particularly in the US, Black women are stereotyped as loud, inappropriate, or associated with ghetto culture, undermining their dignity or identity. Now, those are the top 10, and I'm pretty sure our listeners and our viewers can name quite a
wide amount. Yeah, definitely.
But those are the ones that we commonly hear about. Those are the ones that, as Black women all over the world, that we are often fighting and facing. One of the things we talked about yesterday on our pre-call was how we silence our voices, how we're looked at by other people. So I'm going to jump to Nicole. Well, no, I'm going to jump to Lauren first. And you tell me, have you experienced any of those? And then Nicole, I'll let you let me know. And then Nicole, you're going to talk about some strategies that we can sort of enforce. We're going to go through each of them again and just get down into each of them, and then just talk about some strategies we can enforce and actually utilize to overcome these stereotypes.
I think I can say that I've probably experienced all of them along my life at some point. And if I haven't, then I've come across women, even my own daughter, who have. So it's so common that it's actually uncommon now. It's just part of our everyday now. It's just part of what we do and who we are, and actually what we've accepted to some degree. Not completely. I think if you do enough work on yourself, you understand that, as you always say, Cammy, you just got to show up. And for every person who has this narrative about you, there's always going to be a person who hasn't got this narrative about you. And that person would be you. So there's not enough people in the world to have this narrative about you if you are the person within yourself can show up and say, I'm not any of those things. Mm-hmm. And that comes with working with yourself first. So yes, definitely, I've definitely come across those. Work corporately, in my everyday work, in owning businesses, it comes right across the board for me. So yeah, I've experienced it very much so.
Yes,
I mean, there's so much to process with what you've just spoken about. I think it is about breaking it down bit by bit, really, because I think the first one was angry Black woman.
Yeah, we're gonna go through each of them. I just want to,
that is, if I speak to anybody, any woman of color, that is the first thing we are painted as, and that's the first thing. Even when I was discussing this topic with some of my friends and family, the first thing they said, "Oh, the angry Black woman situation." Why does everyone know about this? Do you get what I mean? Why is this a thing? Like, which then
Because very often, in the mind of people that gonna be meeting us or working with us, I would say people have a view of us like we may be volatile, and quick to anger. But the thing that those people who view us as such is that people see us with their own guilt,
Mm-hmm.
and they're projecting their own guilt
100%.
onto us. So, yes, excuse me, I would have some reasons to be mad, but also I know a lot of us have issues to manage their emotions, and especially at work, where you are often pulled into different direction, triggered.
What do
um,
you will say, Nicole?
you know it's hard because in another environment you can be composed differently, but at work, because it pertains to your livelihood, to what you are representing professionally, it is very tricky to show up truly at your as your own self,
Yeah, but I feel like the angry black woman statement, or projection, is right throughout. This is, and what I was about to say is, it's, for me, it's become a thing where now, because it's been projected so much over the course of my lifetime, it really does sit with how I speak up or how I don't speak up. And I saw a post the other day that says, I'm a bitch. But how many times was I nice before I turned into that bitch?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
you know what I mean? And that to me hit
But
home. Like,
let me
hold
say this. Let me interject really quickly, and let me give you my viewpoint on this. And here's how I want us to sort of shape each of these and look at each of these. Everything that's on that list is right, is true, but it's not. The reason why I say that is because we have a right to be angry. We
Exactly.
should be angry.
Yeah.
We should be upset. We should be mad. We should feel those feelings and those
That
emotions. And
everybody feels.
it is okay for us to feel those feelings and emotions.
Because
And the
those
reason
emotions are
we
valid.
yeah, the reason we should be angry, the reason we should be upset is because look at how society and the world has treated us for so many years. But what they're saying is that it doesn't matter how you are being treated. Your emotional state must maintain a certain way, or either you're going to be labeled this. But what we
Mhm.
have to understand is our emotions are valid. We had this discussion yesterday where I said, you can be sitting in your office, you can be sitting anywhere, and a white woman will come up to you and just fuss and do this and do that and say all of this, and you're expected to sit there with a smile. The moment you come back at her with the same energy that she's given you,
Yeah.
Then you're the problem.
then
Yes.
you're the problem. But
Yes.
that's why I said, in my opinion, I feel like we have to take those words and those stereotypes and reshape them, just like we've done with other words and other things that have been said about us. We have to reshape them. Yes, if you call me the angry black woman, you need to first ask yourself, what made me angry?
Exactly.
What got me to that point? And
Yeah.
that goes to what you were saying, Lauren, about the post you saw yesterday. I'm a bitch, but before I got to being a bitch, what did you do
I
to
was
me?
not, yeah, but also, sometimes, like you said, if someone could be doing this, and I think without even notice, like I said, for me especially, I do go through a process. So it's not like I just come out and I'm like, woof. I'm like, okay, 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 and then maybe by the
But
time I've got to the end, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
so the flip side of the angry black woman for me here in the United States is what we call white woman tears.
Yeah.
And that's when they provoke you and they, they get all in your face and this, that, and the third. And the moment you give them the energy that they are giving you, they start crying and they garner all of this sympathy and all of this, support. Oh my God, what did you do? Why did you talk to her that way? But nobody's asking her, hey, why did you start this altercation?
Yes.
But what I wanted to ask both you and Nicole, this spills into our own very much via Black men as well. They have, especially in Europe, I don't know in the States, but in Europe, they also have this narrative which they hold on for dear life.
Oh, and I have the perfect example for that. I don't know.
Of course you have, Nicole.
I have the perfect example for that. I don't know if you've been aware of this story on 2990 about this podcast. It's an English podcast, by the way, Shits and Gigs.
Okay.
I just saw.
I saw that.
And this gentleman, which is a comedy, comedy persona, was coming at Black women, and those two Black men
they were so uncomfortable.
Did nothing to defend us.
They didn't do nothing.
They were laughing at it to add salt to the injury. They were laughing.
Exactly. And so that's what I'm saying. So it's not just coming from white women tears or the white corporate man.
That's what my next statement was going to be. So, and I'm going to get into it on some of these other stereotypes as well that are being actually perpetuated within our own culture. So here's the thing. Everybody's a victim when it comes to us. Everybody's a victim. Everybody, don't talk. Oh no, don't get angry. Oh no, don't get upset. Oh no, don't do this. Oh no, don't say that. You're being disrespectful to men when you do this. You're being, everybody's a victim when it comes to us. So and this is my question. It's a general question. It's not something I can't answer. It's just a question I know a lot of women have. When are we supposed to be okay with being angry? When are we as Black women supposed to be okay with allowing our emotions to show, being valid in how we feel? Other cultures, other genders are allowed to show when they're upset, when they're angry, when they're dealing with something.
From today.
Yeah.
To me, it's not about waiting. If you can make a small change in the way in which you view yourself and you uplift yourself, then like I said before, it's from today. It's not yesterday. It's not tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree.
Start now, and the more we get into that mindset that we, like you said, we are allowed to be like this. We are allowed to do that.
Exactly.
Because of our emotions, as long as it's not as long as it's a justified situation, just like everyone else.
I agree.
All right, let's move on from the angry Black woman syndrome right now. There's another one it's further down the list, and we're going to come back up to the other two. It's the mammy. And it's something that, and the reason why I want to talk about this one is because this is one that we all talked about last week. It's about our nurturing spirit and our selflessness and being so giving and so caring without recognition. That is something that they try to form and say as a positive, but it really isn't in our lives. And I think is and there are two that actually tie into each other, and that's the mammy stereotype as well as the strong Black woman stereotype.
They tie in.
I think those two
both of them definitely go together. And we were able to see this when Kamala Harris was the guest of Drew Barrymore on her TV show. And Drew Barrymore had the audacity to tell her, "We need Mamala right now. Would you be talking like this to Mike Pence?"
No.
Or Hillary Clinton. Let's just
yeah. Would you be talking to any other person in that position and asking them to mother you?
And that is the perception that Black women get. We are supposed to mother the world, but
we're
do
not.
it,
No,
do
we're not.
it at our own
We
expense.
are. No. There's a. That's the thing. That's the. To me, that's the. Often the prerogative of whiteness to have that. Advantage, oh, we can demand that. Oh, no, no, I am a human being. I am not your mother,
And guess
and
what?
I'm not supposed to be mothering
That
you.
that right there comes from that colonization aspect that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
So we talked
About that.
about the things that have carried over, and
And
that's
I was
one of them.
saying to you guys the other day about, I woke up, I was like, do you know what? When it comes to the whole situation of relationships, and when I speak to people, especially my friends, about relationships and stuff, it seems like the same narrative. We are there to build up somebody, no matter what, whether it's in a workplace situation, whether it's in a relationship, we're there just to build these people up. But we never get the sort of reward of it. We're just there just to get them to that place, to elevate them, whether it's,
Yeah.
whether
And
it's
that's what I was saying about inside of our own culture as well. So that happens with Black men.
Yes.
We are constantly, we are not good enough to marry. We're not good enough for relationships, but we're good enough to mother you.
Yeah, is it Jonathan Majors? Is it Jonathan Majors who's with Megan Good now?
Yes. I think that's his name. Is that his name?
So now he got broken, and then he was on his ass. Guess what? I need you. I need my community back.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So what happened, so at the beginning, I mean, I always have a conversation with people here, especially about sportsmen, in the Black community, sportsmen in the Black community. They might have been dating Black women when they were younger, because a lot of them was from Black communities, Black areas, whatever you want to say. And then they move into the elite athlete sort of side of things. But yet we don't seem to see Black families that they've moved on. So the Black woman was good enough for you when you were building, or when you was dating, or you wasn't a pro athlete. Now you're a pro athlete. You're not really for us.
And that's not just over there. That's not just over there. That's here. That's here prominently.
That's same thing in France too.
That is prominent here.
But why?
It's because we are nurturing. We will help you build. We will carry you through those tough times. But for me, I want to know when Black women are going to say enough is enough.
Today.
Yeah, we definitely need to make better choices.
Yeah, I want to know when we're going to say enough is enough. I'm going to stop giving of myself. I'm going to stop sacrificing myself for you, only for you. That was a huge thing here in the United States for a while. And, when do we say enough is enough? Let me build myself up. Let me promote myself, my brand, do my thing first. And then if you're on my level, I'm going to help you. But why do we constantly say, well, let me pull you up to my level so that you can all you do is push me back down?
I think as well, I think the stereotypes, all the other stereotypes that are fed into us so much, have mixed our brains up so much that we kind of don't want to be seen as a money grabber. We don't want to be seen as disloyal. We don't want to see all these things. So what you do, you overcompensate.
Well, I got a question for you on that. If we don't want to be seen as gold diggers, and we're constantly being seen as strong, mammy type figures, what happens when white women are only out for your money and cash too? Why do we get the label of gold digger when they only marry for financial gain? Or, the reason you have a lot of, what do you call it in India? The arranged
marriage.
marriages is to
So it's
keep the
plus.
financial and the class the
Yeah.
way that it is. It's
Mhm.
so that you don't have to, like your husband is going to make this amount of money and you're going to be a wife and do this, that, and the third. And your family is going to continue to grow in income and in class and in stature. So what happens? Why do Black women have to be the only ones to accept less than? Why can't we also accept this, have the same values and the same mindset that other cultures, other women have? Because I promise you, yes, you do have some white women marrying men that are less than what they are, but that's not all the time. Most of these women are out here because they're looking for someone who has stature, who has finances, who can take care of them. And then they're laying up and having babies by him so that they are forever taken care of.
But we, like you said, the onus has to now start being on us, and we need to start healing and going through journeys that allow us to raise the bar. And
Yeah.
Yes, so this way
if
we do
people
not make those same choices.
you see what I mean? And like I think it was you that was talking to me the other day. I mean, you were saying to me that the dating scene in Atlanta, women have allowed men to get away with so much, hence why they are the way they are. So people are going to only act and what you allow them to do. They're only going to be what you allow them to do for your own personal situation. If you no longer give that power to somebody and you take it back, that's when the dynamic changes, I
Because we
think.
we are powerful, and just some numbers to remind you how we are. We are the
Everyone
fastest
wants love.
growing group of entrepreneurs in the US. So it says
Yes,
a
but
lot
everyone
about
wants
our
love.
spirit.
Nicole. Everybody wants love, and we're always suckered by it, aren't we? Everyone wants love. Everyone wants comfort, and that's the other side that pulls us back in.
Well,
And the thing is, it will not put us back in as long as we continue to work on ourselves.
and let me say
You
this, just to ride off of what Nicole said, because that tackles another one of those stereotypes. The very next one, as a matter of fact, uneducated and unintelligent. Nicole just stated, tell them again, Nicole, what you just said
Yes,
about
Black
women.
women, and I'm really proud to say this out loud. Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the US. Whoop, whoop. Yeah.
So that stereotype of being uneducated and
Yes.
unintelligent and unskilled is disproven
It's
every day.
untrue.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
the thing about it is it's up to us. And this goes back to falling. And I'm not just saying us, I mean me included. This falls in line with what I was saying about my own personal life. We have to find our own value in ourselves. We have to find the worth in ourselves. We have to stop letting people tell us who we are and holding
Yes.
us down. And I know, listen, I know verbal abuse, I've experienced it, is a very hard thing. I still hear some of those voices in my head to this day. But we have to start letting go of some of that stuff, some of that traumatic stuff that we face. And we've got to step into who we are. Like Nicole just said, we're all very powerful. We know this. We know this here in the United States because every group of people rely on us to help them do something. They want us to have their back. So we've got to stop allowing them as they climb the ladder to step on us in the process.
That's why we are the fastest growing of entrepreneurs, because we are starting to say we don't need your lanes anymore. We'll create our own. And that's the direction you want to keep going in. You don't need to fit in anyone else's lane when you create your own. And one thing I would say is, being here in the UK, that was one of my biggest drives. I've been told you're not really going to be, we're not really going to be able to promote you further than this. This is your level. This is where you will be staying. No, it will not be where I'm staying. How about I go and I take it and I do my own thing? And that's what you've got to be strong enough to do. Like, if you're listening to that and I think you have to be really backed into a corner sometimes to realize your worth. But I would say jump into it, because anything's better than someone that don't even know you telling you have to kind of stay in this lane and stay there. You're not going to be moving. You just
Absolutely.
keep going. Once you go, I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, I navigate through life now not looking at myself as a Black woman. I know the world views me as a Black woman, but now I've elevated myself to a point where those comments, those stereotypes, those things, they don't really affect me as much as they probably used to. But that's when you work with yourself. I think it, and you like I said, create your own.
That's the thing. The only thing that will help us and support us in our growth is really the continued work that we do on ourselves, because that will help us make better decisions, take control of our life, define better what we want for ourselves and our families, the people that will be in our circle. So this way we do not get, people that are going to be sucking in all our energy, all our good energy, and just striving pretty much. But it starts by going within, learning to manage your emotions. It's my field, but learning to manage yourself, basically. So you give yourself and you allow yourself to be utilizing all the talents that the spirit have given you fully. We're not to be under-utilized or misplaced. We are warriors. We are great people with empathy, love, and we deserve the best. We deserve the best.
What we do every week, we're sharing knowledge. We're sharing knowledge between us. I think when you're educated or you've got a certain specific field, you should always share. You should always be sharing.
Agree.
That's how you build up. Like people think I'm crazy when I talk about like how I've met you guys. They probably just say like you're just randomly, chatting to people on the internet, but beautiful things come from networking.
Because you put yourself out there.
Exactly.
Look at this situation.
We have to take the risk. We have to take the risk to look within, and we have to take the risk to redefine our circles as well. We have to do that. If not, there's not going to be really changes. For me, because I was an immigrant, I decided, you know what? I'm not seeing any evolution in my circle. I'm going to go and live in another country. This way, I will provide a better chance of education for my child, and I myself will be able to grow. You have to make decisions that are going to allow you to thrive. And sometimes it requires really to take a leap. You don't know how things are going to turn out. But this is
never get the same answers, Nicole, if you do the same things, right?
You
never get
but the thing is, you need to have faith in yourself.
Exactly.
And doing the same thing is always going to keep you in the same serious cycle.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Okay, so let's move on to another one of those stereotypes. And I think these three sort of tie into each other.
Yeah.
It's the hypersexualization, the exoticized, and the single motherhood and family dysfunction. We are hypersexualized in the media, and that I don't know if that's on your end, but I know definitely on our end.
It is.
And then you have what's called the single mother effect here. So you get blamed for being a single mother because they're looking at you for being hypersexualized. And then in other countries, like it stated that Black women are exotic, but I don't think that's just Black women, because I've seen some videos of Black men going to like Asia and China and Korea and stuff like that, and they're exoticized over there as well. So I think it's just people of color in some of these places, but it falls on us.
I know in Italy, I don't know, Nicole, in Italy, Italian men seem to be really fascinated with Black women.
By the way,
so Lauren, what I hear you saying is that I need to move to Italy
and be hypersexualized, baby. Do you know Italian?
No, but watch this. But I got Duolingo. I learn it. Okay.
You're
I
cracking
learn
me
it.
up. You are cracking me up. No, but that's
Yes,
the
Cammy.
truth.
We'll see
Because
Cammy on Air Italia. We're gonna see her on.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like,
Ciao, ciao.
child, don't know whatever they be saying and sipping on red wine and eating pasta all at the same time.
Yes,
Okay.
Cammy. Yes, Italiano.
Yeah, so what I
yeah.
heard Lauren say in that statement was I needed to move to Italy. So I'm gonna make sure. Do I need to get a work visa or some type of
I
a
do
Actually,
living
feel
you
visa?
can buy property. You can buy land in Italy.
but,
There's a
but
lot of
Nicole,
places with declining population where you can buy land.
Okay, so
but
see, thank look.
also, Cammy, on the same breath, they are probably one of the like. There's a lot of racism in
Well, guess
Italy.
what?
So
I
it's
live in the
kind of like
United States.
no, but that's what I'm trying to say. So it's a weird situation because, like I said, you know, the Italian men are obsessed with black women, but yet there is another side to
Well, see, I'm
Italy.
gonna say this, and I'm going to just keep it all the way 100. White men are obsessed with black women. Okay.
Period.
Yeah.
I'm
You're not gonna
Cammy,
kill us
no
all.
way, leave me alone. You're gonna get me in trouble. Nicole, can you please take Cammy off the
I'm
not going to say anything.
you know, Cammy's doing an advert right now. She's doing an advert right now.
Yes, listen. Okay. So my thing is this. What I hear you saying is I need to move to Italy and I have dealt with racism before, so just be prepared for it. See, that was the lesson and the takeaway I got from that. Okay. But no, let's seriously let's talk about this hypersexualization and how we end up as single mothers and how we end up in dysfunctional family situations and how the burden falls on us where it's not us, it's the other person involved. And Nicole even said it yesterday when I was talking about how in my line of work I've been hypersexualized, how I show up as sexy, I walk with an air of sex, this, that, and the third, but it's not me. It's actually how people perceive me, and it's
All
not
of
my
this is about
problem.
perception.
Yeah, it's their problem.
All of these things are about perception. And then the thing is, what
Exactly.
we do, we tend to take it on board and try and
Yes.
change who we are for other people. And what if you've just run through 10 different things, that's what we're dealing with on a daily basis, every day. Maybe I shouldn't wear that. Maybe I'm going to be looked at. Maybe I shouldn't talk too loud. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I
Yeah.
maybe I need to
It's
stay in a
true.
relationship that I'm not happy with
Mm.
because people are going to, mark me as a single mother and me being the problem. Maybe so. There's so much that's just going on. By the time you run through those 10 things every single day, or even every hour,
Yeah.
where do we end up? We're tired.
But people forget the amount of trauma we had to deal with to have a case of single motherhood like this. Let's not forget that our during slavery, our families were decimated. Men were taken from us. Women were taking their child were taken out. There's a huge amount of trauma that wasn't healed that we have passed on generation. This is proven now. Our ancestors are passed their trauma to us, and it's not per se our job to deal with their trauma, but it is our job to deal with our own trauma.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And it start there, and that's the thing. Like people are really quick to place judgment, but let's see this as an historical contest. Our families were decimated, our men were killed. So the the the
And as soon as
view.
your child got old enough to work, the possibility of your child being sold off was there. So
Yeah,
for generations, our families have been broken up. So this
yeah,
trauma is passed down. So I'm going to say this. it just seems like a lot of the stereotypes that are placed upon us come from the same place, from that
Yes.
colonization standpoint.
Yeah.
If you really think about it and think about all of the things that I named, those 10 stereotypes that I talked about, they come from trauma. They
Yeah,
come
that's
from,
what I was saying. Yeah.
yeah, they come from a trauma that we had no control over. This wasn't a trauma that we walked ourselves into.
Me too.
Yeah,
That was
this,
imposed on us for over 400 years, and we're
mhm,
still paying the price to this day.
yeah, and
But
it's
we
not
just
just,
need to look at our parents.
yeah, and they're not even just your
Dropping the mic
parents.
right there. Boom.
Yeah,
Looking at my parents.
my grandparents are still alive, so I
That's,
get to, yeah, and my grandmother raised 11 children.
wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, my grandmother 10.
Yeah,
It's
like I think I told Nicole this. My grandmother has over 120 offspring, and that's not, yeah,
wow.
that's her 11 kids, her grandkids, her great grandkids, her, and
Mm.
now her great great grandkids.
Young.
My son is 25. He's a great grandchild. So
Wow.
he's at that age where they're having their kids. So my grandmother is 95 years old. She's seen the
Wow.
world for 95 years. And if you talk to her about some of the things that she's been through and some of the things that she's experienced, they weren't all nice. And my grandmother has very fair skin.
Yeah.
So she, just like mine, I'm a little bit darker than she is, but she's had to endure things from both sides, from
Yeah.
our own culture and from white people.
You know, someone said to me the other day when I was talking, because we was talking about Black women's things, and I'm talking about it a lot more now, obviously being on the podcast and stuff. And
That's good.
my friend said to me, "Oh, I feel a bit funny sometimes talking to you because you've got like a white family and stuff." And I said, no, because no matter what happens, you have to remember when I'm out in the world, they
You're a
view
Black
me
woman.
as a Black woman.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, so I've had to learn very quickly that no one ain't giving me no pass because my grandmother's white. They don't turn around and say, you know what, I can see she's got a white grandmother. So
They don't see how they know that. How they know?
Exactly. So if you haven't learned very quickly that you are a Black woman being raised, so I have no issues with speaking on what I speak because I'm speaking my truth. I'm speaking what I go through. So I can't turn around and say, oh, no, I don't really experience that because I've got white family. No. So I speak my truth. And I always say to my friends, don't ever feel like you can't have that discussions with me because this is who I am.
Yeah.
Well, here in the United States, and this is what I have to tell all Black people who are born here in the United States. You're not all African and you're not all Black, okay? We come from a very diverse mix, meaning that when you do your DNA, there is at least 2 to 3% European in you.
So more than that.
Yeah. More than that. Of course. But you know what I mean. And then you also have some Native American. You're a mix. So if you were born here in the United States, you're a mutt. That's me being honest, okay? Meaning that you can't judge anybody on their Blackness because you are not 100% African, okay? You can't be. Your ancestors were, but you are not. That's why we come in all different shades. That's why we come in all different hues, because you are not 100%. Just like with Afro Latinos, they try to diversify or separate themselves from being Black. But when you show up in the world, guess what they're going to treat you as?
Exactly, Camille.
It doesn't matter if you speak Spanish. It doesn't matter. Because when they first look at you, all they see is your skin color.
It's true. It's so true. It's so true.
So All right. So from those, we move on to the one I talked about earlier, but this is one I really want to get on, and that's the loud and ghetto. And the reason why I want to talk about that one is because I made a point yesterday about what Nicole said about African Americans visiting France and how they come over there and it's not just African Americans. I'm going to say Black people from various cultures, because we are loud. We are very loud. But again, didn't I just say my grandmama had 11 kids?
But also, because we're so sick of not being heard.
You have to talk loud so people can hear you. Hello.
You fighting with everybody. Yeah, but we love to celebrate. We love to, just be ourselves. And Nicole stated that when she's in France, she knows the difference of people who are from France and who are not, because they come in and they're loud and they're, proud of who they are and they want to do this. But other cultures view that as being disrespectful or quote unquote ghetto and things like that. But why should we dim our light for other people?
Exactly.
I don't think in Europe you're really seen as ghetto though. I wouldn't say you're seen as ghetto in Europe, but I think maybe more in the States they have this whole maybe a bit more where they label that. Would you say, Nicole, that you like if you saw a group of American girls out, having a good time, would you say, oh, they're so ghetto?
No, I would
not. Us, not us as Black people, but other cultures would.
Oh,
yeah. No, I would not.
Yeah, I do think I would see for UK. I don't think they like. I said,
because in the UK people are proper.
Yeah,
but also, and I think what I'm saying is, yes, the word ghetto may have a different meaning in the UK, but here in the United States, it means not being proper.
Yeah, so you do have that here. You have that here. I would say, yeah, you do have it here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just here.
I'm trying to think of situations again.
Yeah.
It's all over the world.
People are proper.
But you know what? It's funny because I have been enjoying being single. I've been enjoying just like having time to myself, finding myself, and I'm getting some comments, I think, on that situation. So I don't know where people think, people be like, oh, you're out all the time, or, like, do you always go clubs, or, so you get all of this at the moment. And they're the kind of statements where people are maybe seeing you from an eye of like, you might be a bit ghetto.
This is what I would be answering to those people. Nanya, meaning none your business.
Fuck out.
And I was ready to say, I'm about to be Nicole today. I be telling them people to go fuck themselves because it's none of your business. Okay, it's none of your business.
That is ultimately what happens. Like I said, nobody cares about your story. People just want to slap a label on you. And so if you do something that seems a bit not proper, as you would say in the UK, they're going to question it or have some shit to say. And it might just come in a little sort of sly comment, or like,
really?
All the time. Or
so in that case, do you pay my bills? Yeah.
I just answer, yeah, I'm out all the time. I'm out if I can, man.
You pay the daycare for my kids? I thought so.
I said, yeah, I dress up. I go to the supermarket and look straight from the club.
Okay. But listen, that goes back into two things that we have previously talked about: being hypersexualized and being told who we are and what we are. It doesn't matter if you're in the club, you're single, you are getting a divorce. This is your time to do you and work on you.
Hello,
Nicole, when we get over to Atlanta, Nicole, what's it gonna be? Yes.
Okay. Like what does it matter what you're doing. As a matter of fact, people should be trying to figure out how to celebrate with you. They should be like, Lauren, what can I do? Can I take you out? You want some drinks? Let me buy you a couple of rounds, because I know you've been through some stuff lately. I know that you're still trying to work on finding yourself. I know
once again, it becomes where we have to be put back in our box.
Yes,
there you go.
because as long as we're not making too much fuss, people are not really seeing us, that's good. And this is the expectation that is placed on women as a whole, but especially on women as Black women. Ooh, do not make too much noise. Do not be seen. Like,
don't watch this, Nicole. Don't get angry. Don't use your voice.
Don't be seen and don't be heard.
Like they say in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That thing is just to say how much I give you of my discontent. It's just this little noise.
Yep.
Yeah. That part.
We all have it. So those stereotypes are things, like Lauren said, that we face. Oh, one more that we forgot to talk about: the gold digger. And that, hold on, watch this. Nicole just made a very valid point when we were talking about how people judge you, and we asked them, "Do you pay my bills?" Like,
you pay my bills, you pay my telephone bills.
Nigga, sometimes like they ain't even got gold to dig. What are you talking about?
But that goes back to me saying, why should Black women settle for less? Why should we settle for less? Why shouldn't we want to have prosperity and abundance in our lives as well? Why should we be those nurturing mammy types that raise you and do all the stuff for you, and then turn around and don't reap any of the benefits or the rewards?
Exactly. And
why should we?
And now left to cry, forgotten.
Hold on. And left to be single moms. You see how I just tied all three of those in together?
That's it. And you know what? Once again, it's because it's okay for us to be like that, because we're just nurture some other person, or we're just build up, or we're okay. We don't break. That's what people think. We're just unbreakable.
Yeah, you go with another stereotype, the strong Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're there, she'll be okay. They're there, she'll be okay.
But we're not okay. We're not okay. And what I really want to reiterate to Black women out there is, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to allow your emotions
talk about it.
To be there. It's okay to feel the feelings that you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But and this is my favorite thing, you just can't let those emotions control you. You can't let what other people perceive you as control you either. But the most important thing is that you show up authentically and show up as yourself. Not anything that anybody has said about you. I could be, and I have been to a certain extent, very weary of the clothing that I wear, very weary of how I present myself, because for a while I was known as the erogenous chef, and that offended some people. But guess what? That's just who I am.
That's you.
That's me.
But when you're talking about the gold digger situation,
here's the beautiful part about that. I love that part of me.
What?
Why can't I be
going in who you are?
Yeah.
And when you talk about this,
go ahead.
About this gold digger situation. So we had a famous sportsman here. You probably have heard of him, Frank Bruno, boxer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was up and coming and rising, Frank Bruno's manager had a daughter. He arranged for Frank Bruno and his daughter, who was white, to come together, and marry. Why? To keep that finances.
Didn't I just say that earlier?
In the circle.
Wow.
But then when she leaves and takes half, it's life.
He's gonna go find a Black woman.
And we're taking half. She's a this. She didn't deserve all that. She only married for money.
listen to me. And then they think we're supposed to stay with men that cheat on us.
That's why I said, but that goes back to us with the mindset of, do we stay with someone we're unhappy with because we don't want to seem like single mothers, like we were the problem, like we've done this, like it's us.
Yeah,
My answer
we're afraid.
To all of these stereotypes is no. No, I will not be your angry Black woman, but my feelings are valid. If you get in my face, I'm getting in yours.
Yes.
Okay. No, I will no longer be your strong Black woman because I'm not going to carry your load and mine as well.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a gold digger because I want abundance and I want something in my life. I want a man in my life that's going to support me through the things that I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I'm not uneducated or unintelligent. I'm in one of the highest group of classes of people who have degrees in multiple fields and who are starting businesses by the droves. Okay. And no, I do not create single families because I didn't get pregnant on my own.
Myself.
So my answer is
you're
no.
right. No, you're not gonna keep carrying the titles. You're not gonna keep carrying stereotypes.
No, and I'm gonna find the value in myself. I'm gonna find the worth in myself, and I'm gonna show up as who I am, regardless of what you think.
And I think also what's really important as Black women, like I said, we need to start coming together more. We need to start supporting each other more. And we also need our Black men to support us, whether it's brothers, uncles, cousins, partners, fathers of our children, husbands, they need to start supporting more as well. Because what I'm saying, it doesn't matter what your preference is. If you decide that you don't want to be with a Black woman, or you don't want to be with a white woman, or you want to be with an Asian woman, whatever it might be, you still have to understand where you came from as a Black man.
Yeah, that's what I've never understood. I've never understood that about Black men. Why do you feel like you've got to demean us? Don't you feel like you're demeaning your own mom or your own sister or your aunts and all of that? Like, I'm so confused on that situation.
There is no other race on this planet that does that to their women, regardless of the circumstances. They do not do that. They stick together in one shape or form. But with Black men, they are literally just anywhere but the Black woman. Oh yeah, I'll support you.
But you know what? Let me tell you something. That is the unhealed Black men.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Those are the ones that need to work on and work out.
Tell you, I know a few supportive ones, and they are 100% for their Black women.
But Nicole, what would you say the ratio is, though, out of 10?
I have no idea, because I would love to have some studies on that.
Listen, that's something that I wanted to do a study on. I'm not even gonna lie, because here in the United States, we have a rise of African-American men committing suicide. So one of the things that I would like to do and like to give some of my time to is studying the mental wellness of Black men and how it actually goes back to them being in colonization, them being broken down throughout colonization, and what as Black women can we do? And I know this is gonna sound so backwards from what I just said, what we can do to support them, not necessarily financially and in their lives, but support their mental healing. Like support them in, I'm always preaching about finding a therapist, about talking to a therapist and going to your therapist and getting out some of that trauma. What can we do?
But they have to be at that point.
Yeah,
so
but
you have to
get so many
at that point.
Here in the US, and I don't know if it's like this in other countries, but here in
because
the US,
the studies are not made like that in France as well.
But what I'm saying is therapy has been ostracized. Therapy has been made to, you only go to therapy if you're crazy. But then is that not a stereotype of therapy? Is that not? Because now as Black women, the reason why we're so healed and the reason why we're so together is because a lot of us seek out therapy.
Yeah.
But do you think that goes back to we don't talk our business?
But
you don't talk your
and
business
again,
outside
Yes,
of
of
the house.
course.
yes,
Of course.
No, I
Of
don't want no one
course.
knowing my business. I don't want no.
that's
Don't talk outside.
intergenerational trauma.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's,
intergenerational trauma.
Yeah, where you're not supposed to be speaking. What happens in this house stays in this house, and when
yes.
it goes outside of this house, there's a problem. So, because we've been raised in that way over generations, to seek therapy and speak to someone you don't know about things that might have gone on in your past, in your life, in your present, whatever it is, then it is kind of that unknown territory, isn't it? Really.
Yes, it is. It is. But once you try it and you start seeing the peace that it's bringing to you, ooh,
But that's what I mean when I say us as the reason why so many Black women are healing. The ability for them to go out here and stand on their own, the ability for them, and it's not all of us, it's a lot of us, but it's not all of us. I encourage all of our sisters to go out there, and if you don't have a therapist, seek out one that fits you. I encourage you to
yes.
do that. The reason why is because we carry so much trauma on our backs, not just from our mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers, but also from the men in our lives.
From
Yeah,
society.
from
Like I said, we have
society, from
10
everybody.
different things every day, every
Yeah.
hour. Like,
So, and I was just getting ready to give point to that. Like Lauren said, these are things that we're faced with every hour, not just
Yeah.
every day. You got to constantly be thinking how you show up to someone else in the world. But why is that your responsibility?
yeah,
That's why I keep saying, show up authentically, show up as yourself. Stop worrying about this list of 10 things, and it may be more. So if you're out there, women, and you're listening, and we didn't talk about one that you face, let us know what that is. But
so
stop.
now I think I'm
Yeah.
going to go and put on a cat suit, a leopard cat suit now, and go to my local supermarket and see what
You know
comes.
what? How do I watch this? When you do that, Lauren, can you please post a picture for us, please?
I'm going to go get my avocados.
Yeah. Go. Hold on, watch this. Now, are you shopping in Italy or what?
You need to watch her, Nicole. Make sure you take her passport, or where she's gone. You should have an Italian background, next week when we do
I
this.
sure will. I sure will. And it might not be just a picture. It might be.
Oh God.
And my background is gonna say now accepting applications from
it's gonna have here, isn't it? It's gonna have apply here.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's gonna say. Italian men apply here. Okay.
Oh,
I just, any of those stereotypes, I think we need to start saying, I don't care. I don't care how I show up. I don't care what you think of me. I am a human being. I'm allowed to emote. I'm allowed to have my emotions. What you see me when you hypersexualize me, what you see when you call me a gold digger, what you see when you call me exotic or any of those things is your problem, not mine.
Do you think that all of these narratives are created when you're a threat to some kind of society? These things are obviously created, aren't they?
Who is the biggest threat in the world?
So this is Nicole. Don't look at me like that. I'd hate Nicole to tell me off.
Listen, I'm Caribbean through and through.
I would hate
my mom could put
Nicole tell me
without a word. My mom could put you in your place without a word, just with the look.
Just with the looks. Nicole just said, let me tell you.
That's exactly what came out her mouth without it coming out her mouth. Okay.
Yeah, but that's where I'm coming from. We are the biggest threat. So when you're a threat, you ultimately you come under attack to try and keep breaking you down so you don't rise above anything. You can imagine when we come together as women.
Yes, and that's why there's the rise of the woman right now. There's the rise of the feminine, because things need to change. We need to be able to create heaven on earth. And in order for us to do that, we need to evolve. Things need to change. Women need to change. Men need to change, so we can bring forth a better a better future for us and for our descendants at the end of the
And
day.
I think it's
Bring healing
really
on this plane.
important that we break, shall we say, we call them generational curses, but we break generational stereotypes. We are also responsible, like for our next generation of young women.
Also,
We need
I
to
want to encourage everyone, not just Black women, but everyone, to seek counseling, seek therapy, go
yes,
and talk about this trauma. And it, because what's going to happen is what I keep saying, and what I keep trying to reiterate is, it's not just the trauma that you're facing in your life.
no,
Like you're experiencing trauma from over 400 years ago, from ancestors being ripped from their homes, being thrown on ships and sent to the UK, sent to Spain, sent to the Caribbean, sent to the United States. You're experiencing that same trauma as well. A lot of our issues internally come from colonization. A lot of our
Exactly.
issues internally within our own culture come from colonization as well. Like if I could hold a huge therapy session for Black men and women in one space, I would absolutely do that. Because
So ladies, when I'm not on the show next week and I just put up a picture saying, sorry, in therapy, you guys will be very understanding. Lauren's not here. She's in therapy.
yes, but you guess
That's
what,
good.
Lauren? This is and the beautiful part about us doing this show is the fact that what we're showing Black women all over the world is it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter, what the circumstances are. You can be healed, you can be whole, and you can be healthy. And it's our job as other Black women, like you said, to build community, but to also let each generation that came before us and that's also coming after us to know that, hey, you need help, I need help, everybody needs help, and that's okay.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
okay, 100%.
Absolutely.
That's
And like
amazing.
I was saying the other day, the single greatest skill, actually, greatest life skill that you can pass down to your children is really emotional regulation.
Yes.
It's really emotional regulation because people forget all those fights of people, all those people that are killed stupidly, all those, act of violence. It's because people are not emotionally regulated.
Yeah.
People forget to mention that. It
Yeah.
have really impacts in our life on many, many levels.
Yeah. And let me just say this. Even emotional regulation is not something that is just pertaining to us. It's pertaining to everyone.
Everyone,
Here in Georgia
everyone.
recently, this little white boy went into his school and he shot up the school. Now, granted,
Yes,
his
too
parents
often.
provided him with the gun and the GBI, and everybody knew he was a threat, but his emotions were not regulated. He did not know how to talk out whatever
Yeah,
was going on with him.
yeah.
And I say
Mhm.
that to say this. When you're feeling any type of way, when you're dealing with emotions and stuff like that, that's why I keep saying seek help, seek therapy. Go to Nicole. She's an emotional intelligence coach.
Nicole, help me, please. I'm your first customer, please.
Yeah,
I'll be
but
happy to. I'll be happy
those
to
are
and
the
have a great
things
deal with
like
that.
when and that's what we should be passing down to our
That's
children.
it.
But you know what else I just thought about while I was saying that? That's also what we should be telling Black men.
Yeah,
I
but
was
you
going
know
to
what?
say,
The thing that we can say it, but the best way is to exemplify it.
And
exactly.
but hold
Because
on, wait a minute now, Nicole.
if you live it, if you're
Yeah,
doing your thing, you're healing, you're taking care of yourself, it shows. People will
but
take notice.
okay, so check this out. You sort of brought it up earlier. Here's why Black women are the most educated and the highest rate of entrepreneurs. What are Black women doing differently right now? We're getting help. We're
Yes,
seeking
we
therapy.
are. We
We're
are.
fighting beyond those stereotypes.
We are. We are.
So if
You know
we're
what?
all
Sorry, I hate keep saying that I see things, but they said um, men no, they said women change themselves, whereas men change partners.
Girl, you better preach.
Oh, wow. That is wild. Yes.
And I was like, whoa, okay, but that just sums it up, right? We do the work on ourselves,
that was
and they think that there's nothing wrong with themselves. They just need to find another person who's going to say
yeah, that is, because we're going to ask ourselves questions, really.
Here's what last night, like I said, one of my friends invited me to be on a Wind Down Wednesday event. And I want to read this quote that one of the ladies said on the event so that you guys can understand how this wraps into what Lauren just said. It says, folks be so committed to their trauma that they can't commit to the solution.
Exactly.
That's it. That's exactly it. So they, rather than actually do the work, women change themselves, men change.
That's why when women go through traumatic relationships, they spend time working on themselves, rebuilding themselves, and then next thing you know, that man is in another relationship, and you're like, how in the world?
How so quickly? Yeah, because they don't recognize that they're a problem. They just think they're with the wrong person.
Yeah.
And then
But here's the kicker after that. The woman thrives. The man just moves on to another relationship.
Until she gets fed
up. Yeah. No, what I mean is
until he gets fed up. He gets fed up, and then he starts realizing that maybe there's something that needs to work on.
And I am an advocate for men going and seeking therapy. Yes. Even in my last relationship, even though it did not work for me, the very first thing I told my partner and made sure that he did was go to therapy, because there were things in him that I recognized, and I was too busy trying to fix them, and I was breaking myself down trying to fix him. But I had to tell him, hey, look, I need you to get a therapist. I can't be your therapist.
Because
I can't
that's
be
one
that.
Of the hats that we wear.
Yeah.
So, whether it's going to be a therapist, whether it's going to be a cook, whether it's going to be,
again,
someone that can support you, process your emotions, dealing with your life, dealing with your relationship.
I feel like a lot of men don't feel that it's worth the money. I feel like if men have to choose, therapy is definitely not high on their list. They don't want to be talking to no one, and they certainly don't want to be paying for it. So I think one of the things, from my point of view, would definitely be to one day get some guys on and ask them some real questions. Why are they?
I'm going to say something to you, Lauren, and I don't mean it by any means. That's a stereotype. So if we're telling men not to put their stereotypes on us, we have to also think about that as well. Yes, there may be some men who do that and feel that way, but a lot of men are told to stuff their feelings down and be a man.
Oh, definitely. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's because of them. I'm saying it's because of what. Same thing.
Yeah, this societal expectation.
So it's not about saying they don't want to do it because they're just not doing it per se. Once again, we've been told not to talk about our emotions. We've been told not to speak outside of the house. We've been told not to.
Especially for men.
Yeah. Like, how many times do we tell boy children to stop crying and pull it together? How many times do we say stop acting like a girl and be a boy?
The men do not cry.
Yeah. And that's why I said we're not blameless in this. We absolutely, as mothers, we have to recognize what we're doing to our children and what we're saying to our children. We have to be very mindful of, what we want that next generation of Black men to look like, because we're raising them.
Do you know what though, Cami? I think if I'm being like, I've actually been in discussions where we feel like it's actually the opposite, where we've had so many single mothers raising sons that actually we've got a generation of boys that do hold a lot more feminine energy than they probably did before, because we have got a lot less men in the household. So when you're saying about don't cry or stop crying like a girl. I don't really think that comes from. I think that you would have come more from a dad, because I find that
Oh, absolutely.
anytime I've spoken, I always like, if I think about men I know or men in my life, all the mothers have been like, that's my son, that's my son, that's my son.
What they say in America is we spoil our boys, but we raise our daughters.
Right.
But that's the same thing in the Caribbean.
And
The emphasis is placed on the male because what? With the male, you can still reproduce and you can still keep the name of the family passing through generations.
yes. So the other day when I took my son to football training, a little boy, he smashed another little boy in the face, and the boy fell. They're like 6 years old. The little boy fell on the floor and he's crying, and his dad's going, get up, get up, and I'm like, no, don't tell him to get up, let me go and hug him. And his dad's like, no, don't, get up. And I was just like, so I think that we are more susceptible to running in and cotton wool. And I think the dads are a bit more like harsh.
But again, that's that generational trauma. That's the thing of being told men don't behave like this.
Yes.
Men don't do this.
Yes.
Men don't do that.
And do you think we've, like I've said, do you think because there's been a lot of absent fathers for, I'd say, well, if I look at sort of my gen, I wasn't raised with a dad, and I would probably say my mum wasn't really raised with a father figure in her life. So if you've got two generations there that haven't had a father figure in their life, would you say that there is a generation of men who don't know how to act like men, who don't know how to show up in that male role, because who's shown them that?
Well, and I'm going to agree with you on that. My mom had two girls. My dad had two girls. The only male figure my son had was my father. And, his dad wasn't present in his life. And my son is 25, and him and his dad are now what I like to call parental friends. Instead of the parent being the parent, he's now the friend instead of the parent. So that is very true. My son is not going to know how to raise his own son because he didn't have a father.
So that's why I'm saying that for me, whenever I talk about relationships, I feel like the baton gets passed from the mother to the wife or the girlfriend. That's why it looks like, and it seems like we are raising, we are nurturing, we are growing these grown men, because the baton's just been passed. It just feels like from mum to girlfriend, and then we're still doing the same things when we shouldn't be.
Well, listen, ladies, we are getting ready to wrap it up. Just give me your last thoughts on what you think about these stereotypes and how you think we, in today's broadcast, we've actually talked about and listen, and what our solutions should be as Black women about facing these stereotypes in the world. Lauren, I'll let you go first.
I think togetherness brings us so much, a stronger force. It allows us to not only come together in love, but also in our mental state. It allows us to offload. It allows us to share similar experiences, and it allows us to grow. And I think all of these stereotypes that we've covered today are exactly that. I think they're just words on paper. They're as prominent or not in your life as you want them to be. So that's from my side of things, I'd say.
All right, Nicole.
That sounds good to me too, Lauren. I agree with you. I agree with you. So we shouldn't be defined by anything.
No.
We shouldn't be defined by any expectation or anything. We should be dancing to our own drum. We should be creating communities to support us, healing, developing ourselves, learning, open our hearts, and really live our life in a place of authenticity, really.
And
How does that look like? How does that look like? Is taking some time for yourself to heal inside, grow, and then you can deal with the outside. But it cannot be done until you have looked at yourself deeply. It starts there.
100%. And for me, I'm just going to say, don't be apologetic about who you are.
Mm.
Show up as yourself authentically. Allow your feelings to be, but don't allow your feelings to control you. I cannot reiterate that enough. Seek help, seek therapy. As Nicole said, look at what's inside of you and what's causing you to double think or not find value in yourself. So those are my 2 cents and my words. And ladies, as always, it's been a pleasure having this conversation, and we will see everyone again next week.
Yes, that sounds lovely.
Thanks, Sammy. We will see you next week. Thank you, Nicole. I know.
Goodbye
That's what I
now.
always do.
Goodbye now.
Okay, you guys, this has been another episode of Dear Black Woman, and I encourage you to download this podcast, share it with someone. And if you're facing any stereotypes in your life, please leave comments. And if you're a Black woman, join our group on Facebook. It's called Dear Black Woman, and you can just type it in the Facebook search, or you can find me, Cammie Red, Nicole Davis, or Lauren goes by Lulu Bell on Facebook. You can find either one of us, and we'll invite you to the group. Again, this podcast is just to talk to Black women about what we face every day in the world, based off of my book, Dear Black Woman, from the harmful labels to just dealing with relationships. And like I said, thank you so much for joining us again today. We really appreciate your attention, your time, and everything that you've brought to the table for us, because we're hoping that we set a table for you that has been informative, positive, and help uplift you in some type of way. And as always, thank you to Rabbit Productions for the music that is accompanies our podcast as well. So with that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, and download on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great